Good morning. My name is Debbie Doran, and since 1996 I've been a special agent of the FBI assigned to the New York Division's Counterterrorism Division, where I've focused on Osama bin Laden and al-Qaeda investigations. As a street agent, I'm removed from the policy and administrative decision-making processes that have defined the scope and conduct of the FBI's investigation into al-Qaeda, both historically and currently, and therefore cannot speak to those issues. What I can speak to is how we, at the street agent level, pursued al-Qaeda and some of what we have learned. Let me begin by telling you that I am proud to be an agent of the FBI, and I am particularly proud of the work done by the Counterterrorism Division in New York. I have been privileged and honored to work with and learn from my colleagues in the FBI, as well as those in other government agencies. Prior to 9/11, it was primarily the New York office, together with the United States Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York, supported by dedicated analysts at FBI headquarters, and in conjunction with our colleagues at CTC, that constituted the majority of the United States government's institutional knowledge about al-Qaeda and the threat it posed to the United States. The dedication and sacrifices made in this cause by these people is incalculable. I hope today that we who sit before you can do justice to their efforts, which since 9/11 have been supplemented with literally thousands of additional people in both civilian and military capacities. Clearly, this is indicative of the responsibility with which we were charged prior to 9/11. The FBI is and has been an integral part of the United States intelligence community working to prevent acts of terrorism. Most emphatically, the FBI is not new to countering terrorism against United States interests, whether here or abroad. Included in the FBI's mission has always been the proactive identification and disruption of potential terrorism threats. Our first Joint Terrorism Task Force was formed in New York over 20 years ago, and we have long understood that a successful prosecution after an attack is only second best. The FBI is extremely effective in putting together both criminal intelligence cases, all built upon information obtained through detailed and thorough investigations that are factually substantiated and corroborated. The fundamental objective of our investigations, both criminal intelligence, is to reach the highest level of truth about that which we investigate. It is our training under the rule of law that has led to the FBI's successes in such cases. FBI investigators seek to pursue all leads to their logical end and to follow these leads wherever they may take us. While leads can undoubtedly be developed in the wake of terrorist attacks, the real goal is to develop them through proactive investigation so as to be able to disrupt potential attacks before they occur. In numerous instances, our investigations have disrupted planned attacks against the United States and have contributed to the disruption of planned attacks abroad. Beyond merely disrupting specific plots, intelligence generated has significantly contributed to the identification of al-Qaeda's leadership, its organizational structure, methods, training, finances, geographical reach, and intent. The early development of operational sources and cooperators, dogged pursuit of leads, and the factual substantiation of information all exemplify the ways that we were proactive in the fight against terrorism long before 9/11. Through the use of sources, the FBI identified the first seeds of Islamically justified terrorism in the U.S. in the late 1980s. Through these investigations in the early 1990s, the name Osama bin Laden first surfaced. Initially, he was identified as an organizer and financier of military training camps in Afghanistan. The fact that his name first surfaced through FBI New York investigations were the reasons that the UBL investigation was assigned to the FBI's New York office. This early era yielded yet another important name, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. All of these investigations contributed greatly to the FBI's then new but growing knowledge of UBL and his network. The FBI's intelligence investigation into Osama bin Laden was opened in February of '96, and the criminal investigation was opened in September of '96. Perhaps the most significant factor in the progress of these investigations, from our perspective, came with the arrival of an al-Qaeda defector, Jamal al-Fadl, nicknamed Junior. Junior had offered his information to a number of different countries before being brought in by the CIA in '96. Subsequently, the CIA allowed him to meet with the FBI. In December '96, Junior was established as an FBI cooperating witness against al-Qaeda. Information developed by Junior spurred a continuing effort to target and apprehend al-Qaeda associates wherever they might be found, including those willing to act as informants. Junior was only one of a series of cooperators developed by the FBI. Like him, they continue to be debriefed to this day and continue to provide the FBI with new and relevant information. Through these sources, the FBI gained valuable insights into al-Qaeda. Utilizing sources like Junior and others, Osama bin Laden was identified as the head of al-Qaeda. information provided by the sources also allowed for the identification of his top lieutenants and the structure of the al-Qaeda organization. Al-Qaeda can be likened to that of the organization of a corporation headed by a CEO with a number of subsidiaries, the directors of which all sit upon the corporate board. In al-Qaeda's case, UBL is the CEO, and his board of directors is called the Majlis al-Shura, or Consultative Council, which forms the core of the group's command and control structure. This council discussed and approved major undertakings, including the terrorist operations of al-Qaeda. Each member of the Majlis al-Shura headed a committee, and each committee had its own responsibilities and specific purposes, such as those for information, propaganda, Islamic law, finance, and military operations. Through these sources, the FBI also gained a more comprehensive picture of the training camps, methods, tradecraft, and intent of al-Qaeda. Throughout the 90s, thousands of men were recruited to come and fight on behalf of the Taliban against the Northern Alliance in order to establish an Islamic State in Afghanistan. Those who came were sent to basic training camps. Those who excelled were approached about the possibility of joining the larger jihad against the United States and its allies. Those who accepted that offer were sent on for advanced training and sometimes for specialized training, such as in explosives. It also became clear that UBL was more than simply a financier. Rather, he was the spiritual leader of a virulently anti-Western interpretation of Islam who was adored by those who followed him. By early '96 and continuing to today, the FBI and CIA have been working together in the targeting of Osama bin Laden and al-Qaeda. The FBI has contributed significantly to this joint effort and continued to examine al-Qaeda's presence across the United States and around the globe. Long before 9/11, FBI agents opened up a number of UBL-related investigations in the United States and briefed countless foreign law enforcement and intelligence agencies about Osama bin Laden and al-Qaeda. Eventually, the amount of factually substantiated information developed was such that in June '98, Osama bin Laden was indicted in the Southern District of New York under seal. This was a significant legal tool to have in hand in the event an opportunity to capture bin Laden arose. This indictment was unsealed and superseded after the attacks in the U.S. embassies in East Africa in August of '98. This commission has been provided unprecedented access to FBI personnel, FBI information, and records in order to inform yourself about our role in counterterrorism efforts, past and present. The fact that this commission was able to draft the statement it has for this panel is, in of itself, a small testament to the work done by this dedicated band of public servants, including those in the FBI in the years prior to 9/11. On behalf of the United States Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, Patrick Fitzgerald, and Executive Assistant Director of the FBI, John Pistol, we thank the Commission for inviting us to these proceedings and providing the opportunity, in some small way, to contribute to history. We understand the responsibility with which you have been charged and will do our best to answer your questions.